So this is Keana's first week with me in training. So the first couple of days that she was with me, she was pretty unmotivated to eat from my hand. So it took us a couple days to kind of bond, which is pretty typical. When I get dogs in, they're usually nervous the first couple days. So week 1 is usually pretty slow. And then week 2, we usually start seeing like an explosion of the dog picking up new behaviors and wanting to learn and being a lot more engaged. So she is starting to hit that point where I can kind of see that switch has flipped and she's like, oh, maybe I do like you. Maybe I do like the training. So I'm super happy to see that. We are just working off of her kibble. So she is kind of learning to have an economy, when it comes to training. So she's working for her food. Here we're starting place. So this was her first place session ever. So she did really well for it to be her first session. Usually we don't kind of get to do a whole lot of like distance and duration and stuff on the first go. Usually we're just getting up on and off the bed. But she's a very confident dog. She's a pretty like dominant female. I've noticed her marking and things outside. She's very externally focused, so she's really concerned more about everything else going on around her. And you can kind of even see in the house, she's very much looking around and stuff, versus, being cued in on me, which is totally fine. Again, week 1, we're still kind of settling in and stuff, so we are working on that. So that's going to be probably a big struggle for her to overcome out of anything in the training is going to be kind of staying on task. She likes to sort of start worrying about stuff she doesn't need to worry about. And then the impulse control is also something we're going to be working on, which I've already seen a big difference with the impulse control. So primarily we've been working on place because it's very easy. So if her brain wanders, it's not going to be too difficult for her to hold it. So I kind of use place to help teach the dog the markers, how the training goes, and just get them to start enjoying things. I also use it to teach them, introduce them to a little bit of leash pressure. So you'll notice when she gets off the bed here, I'm kind of tapping her back on with my leash pressure, just teaching her to kind of control whether that comes on or not. So as soon as she gets back up on the bed, it turns off. As soon as she steps off, it turns on. So she's in control of that. Place is probably the most established thing right now, but we've also been getting pretty far with our sit stays. The sit itself, I'd like to see her going more off of the verbal rather than the leash pressure a little bit more consistently. But again, we're in week 1, so I'm always expecting the dogs to be like crazy working on stuff, but it is week 1, so we are being patient with her. We've been doing a lot of sit stays at entrances and exits. So again, as I said, she's a very dominant female. She's very confident. But I do want her to kind of know that the human goes out the door first. I release you out the door. It's not, a NASCAR race to get through that entranceway. So you'll see her do some sit stays later in this video, especially at like open doors and stuff. I don't want her to think that she can just excuse herself to go out. We started a little bit of heel. I did not record any of the heel for this video. The heel is very, very like slow going right now. As I said, she's very concerned about everything else in the environment, and heel is very difficult to hold the dog's attention if they're not wanting to give it. So I think letting her have a couple days of just kind of getting used to me, getting used to the rewards, and understanding that she's in control of the food and things, that's going to make the heel a lot easier for her. So I didn't want to spend too much time on the heel where she's not being successful and making her feel discouraged or anything. So I'm trying to give her just a couple days working on the sit and the place, and then we're going to give the heel a go again, and see how that goes, which I'm pretty confident that it's going to go a lot better, giving her some of that time to kind of chill out. And I can already tell from what she's given me during training, I can already tell that once she gets the hang of things fully, she's going to be an absolute little training machine. I don't ask the dog for any specific positions on the place bed, so if she sits or downs, that's totally up to her. But she was already picking up in this video that when she downs, I come back and reward her faster. So I don't ask the dog for positions on place. They can do whatever they want as long as they're up there. But if they do give me a behavior like the sit or the down that tells me they're ready to be up there for a while, I will go back and reward that. because I also want place to be a calm area for her to be. Now, this place bed is a little bit too small for her. You'll notice like those back feet, sometimes she's having trouble like keeping them up there. That's no fault for her. Silly Kelly ordered the wrong size place beds, so I'm waiting on bigger ones to come in hopefully this week. But in the meantime, she can train off the small one, and it'll probably just actually make the behavior a little bit more exact. So it's not a bad thing at all. But she is doing super good with this. I'm happy to see that she's really consistent in taking food. Not all dogs are going to want to take food in that first week. So the fact that she's doing this now is already kind of putting her ahead of the curve. So she's doing really good. You can see she's happy with the training too. So she's not overly nervous. As I said, she's got a good amount of confidence. That's why she's able to like handle those leash corrections really well. And she's not like cowering in the corner or anything. She's still got a happy wagging tail. So we're just going to take that confidence and just trying to channel it into the correct behaviors, and teach her that she's fully in control of everything that happens to her. She just has to figure out how she can control the food, how she can control the leash corrections, and all that good stuff. So here we're working on some sit stays. So I'm just having her stay. We're just doing like a 6-foot stay. So it's not anything too crazy right now. I want her to be successful overall. Honestly, week 1, I'm less concerned about what the dog is learning and more on how they're learning it. So I want the dog to feel very successful in the first week. I want them to think that the training is super fun. You're not going to like something that you're not good at. So I want the dogs to think that they're very good at it, that they're having a really good time. So we're keeping stuff pretty easy. My house looks kind of messy in this video. We're in the middle of moving right now, so just disregard the fact that there's shoes everywhere. I'm working on packing, but not going great. Here we're doing some sit stays at the door. I want her to have good impulse control, especially at these thresholds. Just in case like the door blows open at home or something, I don't want her to think she can just excuse herself out. I'm going to release her to go out. Not all the training sessions we go out the door. So some sessions like this one, we just sit at the door for a second and then close it and walk away. I don't want her to think that every time the door opens, we're going to go out. I want her to have a nice solid sit stay there, and her able to control herself in that situation.